wanted to touch base with you on your experience with sober living facilities, how many you have, what your speed bumps were opening them up. Um, just because that is my Mount Everest. So I'm looking to see, how I could learn and really understand the process
Yeah.
of what you're currently in.
Yeah. So we have one right now we're currently looking for and trying to fill that one, and we're currently looking for a second home. We found a little niche down in Victoria, Texas. One of these towns where, you know, somebody wouldn't outright tell you, hey, go do it in a town like this,
Hmm.
because resources aren't readily available like they would be in Houston or
Yeah,
Phoenix, or a town like
right,
that.
right.
Um, but the reason we decided to go for it is because one, we had this unique house that I don't know how much you remember about our story, that we picked up this house, we saved a veteran from foreclosure, and then we had this big unique house in a neighborhood that we thought we were going to wholesale. Then we tried a mini flip, and just learning like at one point we finally had the aha moment when no other
Hmm.
strategy was working, that we remembered that we both wanted to do group housing at some point. And this was just kind of like the slap in the face that like this house is perfect for it. Why aren't we doing it with this house? It's time to start that journey now. And then once
Yeah.
we made that realization, all everything just started falling into place. All the resources that we needed started coming into play. And as we
Hmm.
started to reach out to people about this, again, there were resources thrown in our face that were just like, oh my gosh, are you going to do this in this town? Because what we learned is everybody puts their money into Houston and all the larger cities,
Hmm.
and so these smaller towns are left without resources. And especially when it comes to, God, meth, just
Hmm.
a nasty, nasty, nasty problem. And there are so many small towns um that are just being ravaged by meth and don't have the resources. And
Hmm.
people who especially are on the street are so deep into their addiction that they've essentially lost everything at that point. They
Hmm.
don't have the ability to get to another town
Right.
to
Right.
go
They have
rehab.
no means. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Hmm.
um,
So did you reach out to like city council or any of like maybe governors in these small towns to find the mayors, try to find out what the problems are? I mean, how did you decide on the small town that you purchased the property in? And be like, oh, this is where we're gonna, start our first
yeah,
sober living. It's like, how do you know that the demand was there?
the demand was there. Honestly, it was guerrilla. It was word of mouth. I forgot. It's been so long, our journey with this house,
Hmm.
that I forget exactly what that turning point was. But I do remember distinctly that one of these serendipitous moments was, I saw a posting on Nextdoor of a woman that was promoting a children's center, and I thought, oh, I'll call this woman. We'll just swap resources, and maybe we'll stumble upon something that we can help each other with. When I
Hmm.
called, the woman that actually answered the hotline, she was working for this children's center, but her passion was really in recovery services. And like she was the wind beneath my wings at that point, and she was just
Hmm.
connected with the Salvation Army and all these different resources in town. And so she's really the one that started to tell us that. But I will say, what
Hmm.
we learned, I guess one of the where we're at right now is we had our house manager in the house for almost a month. We've had several people come through the funnel and like go through the intake process, but right now we have one guest in the house,
Okay.
um, with a couple of others that we're working on helping to get in. One of the biggest learning curves there, we did have another resident, but on day three, I shouldn't say resident, guest. On day
Hmm.
three, we had to call the cops because he had a psychotic breakdown, locked everybody out of the house, and said he was the god of everything and that he owned the place and that everybody else owed him rent. And
Okay.
so the learning from that is, and I'm probably not alone in this, is so many people get into this wanting to help everyone, and you know that you can't help everyone. We have the intake criteria there that we've done logically and with
Hmm.
purpose. But then you get on the phone with somebody and you really want to help them out, and you're like, okay, maybe we can fudge a little here.
Right. Right.
Well, the issue here is this guy, even though he had no criminal history, he checked all of the boxes except that he had not had the minimum sobriety that we required, and
Yeah.
he had been through any, he wasn't being referred from a program, not from another inpatient program,
Hmm.
not from any other rehab program. And so basically he didn't have a mental health assessment for us to go on.
Hmm.
And
So what you're doing now is, after learning from that, is just working directly with the inpatient maybe facilities and using them as referrals, saying this person is sober this many days, and we know that because we take random drug tests for all our inpatient guests, and then when they're looking for an outpatient facility to transition into the real world.
yeah, we
And can
are
you help me, kind of thing?
at
Can you
least,
help?
yeah, at least prioritizing our outreach to those businesses. Um,
Okay.
and saying, hey, among myself, my partner, and our house manager,
Hmm.
just realize, just like, a child needs the parents to be on the same rate page, and the rules need to be clearly communicated. We're
Hmm.
all just, hey, we can't do anything on the feel goods right now. The rules are the rules. We're all
Hmm.
saying the same thing about the rules, and we're not leaving any room to waffle on that. Uh,
Hmm.
because we've also had a recent intake. We want to help them out. And you know how it is. Users are salespeople, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. They'll sell you.
100% committed.
Yeah, they'll sell ice to an Eskimo for
Yeah,
sure. Yep.
100% committed. And then
Hmm.
call him in the morning when we're supposed to meet at the workforce or whatever, and he's drinking. And like, what happened to 100% committed, man? When and
Right.
really trying to convince me that you can do it, but it's like, if we already told you, we already had the
Hmm.
discussion that your livelihood depends on it, you couldn't. Oh, but I don't need to go to an inpatient rehab. I don't need that. And so it's a lot of those conversations that we just have to take a hard line and refer to
Hmm.
the resources that we have. But the
Yeah.
other side of that lesson was I started getting calls left and right from a food kitchen, basically, that made me realize we needed to change our marketing a little bit because there was a misunderstanding. Like, we have to get clearer in our outreach and our marketing that we are not a rehab facility, and
Hmm.
not a homeless shelter. Like, sobriety is required to come in, and we had to be more upfront about the fact that it's a pay per bed, or
Hmm.
it's a self pay. Um, so that's helped a lot, because what happens if people have a misunderstanding and you're getting referrals left and right, but then you're spending all your time taking phone calls and doing partial intakes for people that really aren't qualified to come in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would say those are the two real big learning experience, but
Hmm.